How we doing, everybody? We're here to talk about Fast X. Whoosh. All right. So I got to see this on Thursday night. So it was just the opening, and my theater wasn't that full because it was a Thursday. But I think it's going to do pretty well considering. So this one is directed by Louis Leterrier. I think it's French, but it's Louis Leterrier. Something to that effect. Justin Lin comes back and just writes with a couple of guys that don't have any credits. Dan Mazeau and Gary Scott Thompson, who I think was one of the first writers. So that team is back, and then all the actors are back, and it's the team game, and even Rita Moreno makes an appearance, as you saw in the trailer. Jason Statham's back, Helen Mirren. They all make an appearance at one time or another. So if you like the previous Fast and Furious films, you're going to love this. So, and I'm wearing, I didn't even realize it, I'm wearing the Aquaman shirt today. Of course, this is the only true Aquaman. Everybody knows that I'm not a fan of Momoa. And, especially with him doing Aquaman, because Aquaman was bred to be a king, and, he was called stupid by Mera at least 3 times. So he was just not Aquaman for me. Of course, how do you give Aquaman tattoos? You can't, because you can't pierce his skin. So with that being said, I went in going, okay, well, Momoa is playing the villain. I'm going to have to discount the villain. But I admit when I am wrong. Momoa blew up the screen with his portrayal of this villain. I mean, he chewed up the scenery. He played a crazy Joker-ish type of villain, and boy, did he blow it out of the park. You didn't know what he was going to do next. You didn't know if he was going to... It's almost like he didn't care whether he failed at one little piece, because he knew he had another piece of the puzzle he was going to throw in there. We have no idea where he got his money, because, as you know from the trailer, they stole the vault that had the money for the family in it. But I assume that he had maybe offshore accounts, whatever. So he's funding a whole bunch of stuff through this thing. Mr. Nobody is not in it. So this is going to be spoiler free, and then I'm going to go into spoilers, but I'm going to warn you when I'm doing that, because there's at least one piece that I have to talk about that bothered me, and I can't talk about it without spoiling it, so I'm not going to say it in the beginning. So let's talk about the franchise in general. So the franchise in general it's a $700 million machine. Okay? People will say, oh, why are they still making these things? They're at 10. How much further can they go? So, yes, it's on an average, they're doing $700 million. All right? So the first one was like only a $30 million film. It grossed $200 million. It was supposed to be a one-and-done situation. They took, I think, Rob Cohen, who was the director of the first one, took the idea from an article about street racing. That's how this whole thing started. And then the second one, Vin Diesel did not come back for, and it still did $200 million, or pretty close, 100. I think it was 157 or something to that effect. So it was slowly growing. Took a step back, but just a tad. And Paul Walker was in that one, but it introduced Tyrese Gibson's a Roman character, who he's been in there since then. And then we jumped to Tokyo Drift, which was didn't have anybody in it, and it still did $200 million. but that was an $85 million budget. So the budget's been continually going up, went from 38 already to 85 by the time the 3 hit. Then Vin Diesel and Paul Walker combined again. Then it jumped up to $350 million, and only during Paul Walker's death in 7 did it jump to 1.5 billion that it made, and because of course there was homage to his death. Everybody kind of wanted to see how they were going to complete it, and the deal was that they were going to make one more movie, and that was going to be the end of it, right? Because they weren't going to continue without Paul Walker for the most part, and that one did $1.2 billion without Paul Walker in it. So everybody went to go see it to see how they were going to end it, and then they didn't end it. But then after that, it jumped back down to the $750 million, and the prices, jumped to $200 million. And they were, making fun of Indiana Jones on this past one, but, with Indiana Jones 5 saying it's never going to make the amount of money. This one was $350 million budget. So it needs $800 million and change to break even. Ouch. Maybe they're just saying, okay, we are ending it now because everybody's getting older, right? Everybody's 40 and 45, 50 years old, with Brie Larson being the youngest at 33, and Nathalie Emmanuel, I think, being 34. But everybody else is 40s and 50s, which they're doing. I mean, Jason Statham's 55. It's crazy. He's older than I am, and he looks great. So, but yeah, so they brought everybody back for what they did a little bit differently here. And yes, you still have to say, okay, people and cars are not going to survive this thing, but they do anyway. I mean, my car goes over a curb and I can't drive the thing anymore. These cars drop out of, helicopters and planes and, everything else, and driving fuselages behind them that are on fire, and the car goes on fire, and they're driving down dams and getting, jumping into the water, and and the car just keeps going. So you gotta, suspend disbelief to the nth degree, and they're behind the wheel and they're, jagging around. And they could just walk right out of the car without a scrape or anything else. So, but yeah, it's pretty crazy what they get away with, and we just have to, again, suspend disbelief. But I gotta say, this one in particular, has a lot of stakes. Okay, I think this one has more stakes than any of the others. So the first one was Cypher, which is Charlize Theron's character. That one had some high stakes because, we had, and I forgot her name, but the one that ended up giving birth to little B. Now this one has little B older, and because it's the last three. Okay, so let me just tell you this right off the bat. This ends on a cliffhanger. Okay, I just want to be prepared for that. If you haven't seen it already, it ends on a cliffhanger. So the movie does not end. It's going to be like Lord of the Rings. So the next one's not going to end, and then the whole series will end because, again, they know that everybody's getting older, and they're doing two years in between each film. So that means that 4 more years, and Jason Statham's 60 years old. So, but at the same time, that also means that anybody's up for grabs to be killed because they know this is the end, and therefore everybody's not going to make it out. And it won't matter because the team will be over anyway. So the stakes are extremely high in this because you never know who's going to die. But at the same time, people are still rubber bands. And can walk out of a car that has been smashed to hell without a scrape. The other thing is, of course, you have the Mr. Nobody group, and we get a new head of that, and it's the guy who played Aquaman. Again, we go back to Aquaman. The guy who played Aquaman from Smallville, and boy, is he a monster. Holy cow, the guy is immensely huge. So the director directed the Hulk. He directed the Transporter, so he's kind of reunited with Jason Statham here. And he directed Now You See Me. So he's got some directing chops behind him, and some of the sweeping shots, and he went back to Rob Cohen stuff, where we're seeing, the camera go in through the engine and out, out through the other tubes of the exhaust. and we're seeing, which is, you saw the shot in the trailer, of going through the windows. He has these immensely sweeping shots, where Momoa is standing, on a precipice or a cliff, and he has these immense drone shots of sweeping past him and stuff to that effect. We have a lot of remote control cars in this. I'm not talking about control cars like this, like he's controlling cars, like full-size cars and trucks with remote control. And then, of course, we have the faceless guys that he's fighting. And when I say faceless, it's because they have masks on, the military type guys. And they do that just so why. Why do they do that? They have them faceless instead of showing the stuntman's face, which you'd think, well, the stuntman would want to get credit or whatever. They do this for two reasons on a film side. Just let me tell you this. So, first of all, they have extra padding and the thing so they can take extra hits for with having the mask on. Okay, so there's that portion of it. The second portion is for budget. And the reason being is you can reuse those stunt guys over and over and over again, and the audience would never know. So you probably have 5 stunt guys are just using over and over. I'm not exaggerating. It's probably more like a dozen. But anyway, so you can reuse them over and over. That's the real reason that they do that. And of course, you could also pad the mask. So this is a couple of reasons. But the main reason is budget, that you reuse the same guys over and over. So it's very smart, actually. And you're also making them faceless because, your heroes are killing them right and left. And it's like, tin ducks, going down. The fight scenes, let's talk about the action, because that's why you're going. So why you're going to see this movie is purely for the action. And the action is off the chain again. I mean, they don't really up, like the last one had the gimmick with the magnets. There's no real gimmick with this one. We do have the beginning, which you saw with the ball rolling through Rome, which was kind of cool, and there's a bomb in there. So, but you probably guessed that from the trailer. So yes, we have the ball rolling around from the trailer around Rome. So that was kind of pretty cool. But there's no real gimmicky stuff in this one, mostly because the gimmick is Momoa. Okay, so Momoa is the driving force of the film. Okay, so, and as you know from the trailer also, he is the son of the villain from, I think it's 5. I think it's Fast 5 with the one with the safe. I'm pretty sure. So, which is one of my favorites, by the way. And I've watched that one a million times. And of course, that one also has Paul Walker in it. And so it was really good. And it's, I like how they're going back into the other movies and saying, by the way, here's what's going on. Of course, it's purely revenge plot. So we got a revenge story. And but anyway, the fight scenes are incredible. The driving scenes are, of course, incredible. And it's a popcorn movie, so you're there to entertain yourself. Are you going to remember when you leave? I don't know. It depends. I did because it's because the stakes were so high, and and everybody's in danger and stuff to that effect. So I left with having a lot of the scenes in my head. Mostly the Momoa scenes, which is weird for me to say because I always thought he was a one-note wonder where he can only play one thing, and he just proved me wrong with this. So, with him, and then Brie Larson's character had a couple of things, and then there's Charlize Theron, which you saw also in the trailer. Charlize Theron and Letty, Michelle Rodriguez, and we had their battle. And that was also good too. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. I definitely recommend the film. I definitely recommend it. And of course now we want to see what happens with the other the next 2. I'm not going to tell you who dies or who lives or whatever, but just know that everybody it's a possibility that any of the actors will go at any time because they know they're ending it. All right. So I'm going to give this film, for me, it's probably a 7.5 out of 10. It's that for me, you know, I never give 8s and 9s unless it's like the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So it's like just below some of the amazing stuff I've seen in the past. So I think, of course, I think still the one with the safe is probably one of my favorites, and that's more the 8.5 for me. So yeah, so I'm going to go into spoilers, but don't forget to like and subscribe before I say anything. And also Destiny Aurora, and I'm going to go into do this first, and then I'm going to go into spoilers. So if you want to watch spoilers, it's just a few. I'll tell you exactly what I had the problem with, and other people probably had the same problem. But anyway, Destiny Aurora is at literally 98%. By the time I wake up tomorrow, it might have hit goal. So by the time I edit this thing, it's probably I've hit goal. But anyway, so we're pretty much there. So make sure you jump in on that because now we're going to start unlocking free stuff, the stretch goals. So jump on that as soon as you can. I'll put the link below. And Lords of LA. Again, I only have those few pages left. In fact, I have to pay the colorist to get the last couple pages done. So we're almost there with that one as well. And then if you pledge to Tales of Ravenor, we did just get the paperbacks in. So if you did order a paperback, they will be going out within the next week or so. So I'm going to get these out. I am going to Ontario for the Comic-Con Revolution tomorrow to meet with, as you can see behind me, that's the Destiny Aurora RPG. We are working on a Tales of Ravenor D&D 5e project, and I'm going to be meeting with Deborah Ann Wall, who's going to be at the convention. She's from True Blood and Daredevil. She played Karen Page in Daredevil, and she's also been in the Escape Room movies. Anyway, she's a big D&D player, and I'm hoping that she's going to kind of help me promote. All right, so that's it for that, and I'm going to go into spoilers right now, so you've been warned. We're going to go in there. 1, 2, 3. Turn me off or keep me on. All right, so I'm hoping that everybody has already seen it or doesn't plan on seeing it. So we're into spoilers now. And I'll tell you my big problem. So first of all, I was really hoping that Brie Larson was going to be the villain. I kind of wanted her to see her play a villain. And in fact, I think that they changed her face. I had to watch the trailer over again because I always thought that the Brie Larson's face was in that laboratory when Letty turns to her. And it wasn't. It ended up being Charlize Theron. So I don't know if they digitally changed her face so that they could fool everybody. I don't know. But anyway, so I was really hoping she would be the villain, but instead she was Mr. Nobody's daughter. And I thought that was kind of a wasted thing for her. She had a couple of scenes. Like, I didn't understand the scene when she walks into the bar. She puts the money down and says she's going to buy drinks. Instead, she just immediately gets into a fight. But meanwhile, all she had to do was look across the room, and the bald guy was there. Vin Diesel was right there, Dom. So why did she have to fight everybody? There was absolutely no reason. So that was weird. And my biggest problem, not even with the rubber banding people, with that people, it's that he went into the water with the car, driving down the dam when he would have skipped, and they would have literally got their head through the windshield. Little stuff like that. And of course, him dropping out of the plane. And of course, then they made the other guy the villain. And of course, they blew up the plane with Roman and Tej and, oh my God, I forgot Nathalie Emmanuel's character name. Ramsey. And, of course, at this point in time, John Cena's character is dead at this point as well. and of course Helen Mirren might be in danger, so that's why they bring Jason Statham to us in next movie. But here's my biggest problem with it: bringing Gal Gadot back. Why? That's one of the probably the best death scene of the entire series. And I understand that they're bringing her back because they're closing it up. They want to bring everybody back that's ever been in one of these things. But they ruined her death now. Just like they ruined Han's death. And everybody kind of got over that one. But the other problem is, if she's back, Han has got to know about it. She would not have kept that a secret for all these years. For what, 10 years she's been hanging out with Charlize Theron's character and we didn't know it? And Han didn't know it? And she didn't try to come back after they were all in love and making plans to be together? And suddenly now she's back? And not to mention the fact, I think she had a tank top on in the middle of the Arctic. That was a little weird too. But yeah, she took. I'm like, oh no! As soon as she took the binoculars down, it was Gal Gadot. I was like, oh, why does this have to be a Marvel comic book where nobody friggin' dies? So I was pretty disappointed with that, actually. I mean, I look forward to seeing her again now that we know she's back. But they are going to have to explain the hell out of her being back and Han not knowing about it. The best thing they can do is have Han know. Just have him know. That's the only thing that could make this work. And what has she been doing this whole time? She never hooked back up with the team. I don't know. I just don't buy it. The only thing that would have mattered was if she got with Han and she was part of whatever was happening in Tokyo, and they went away together with Mr. Nobody, put them both, somewhere. So now that he's back, she's back. I don't know. I'm really kind of upset about this because it doesn't make any sense. And again, I know why they're doing it. They're doing it for fan service, but it just, story-wise, they just put a big, wrench in the machine. It would have worked just as well without. So I'm pretty sure that John Cena is now dead. I don't think he would be coming back after that. So anyway, that's it for me. Remember to again, like and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow. And on top of that, let me know what you guys think. Were you happy about Gal Gadot coming back or not? Or you could put in the comments just saying, yes, I was happy for the cameo. And of course, now we have, that's the other thing I want to talk about, because The Rock, of course, is in the mid-credit sequence. And as everybody knows, The Rock and Vin Diesel do not jive. They hate each other. In fact, the last movie they were in together, they would not shoot their scenes together. That's why they're always in one shot or the other. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with The Rock, considering he's going to have to basically be on his own with some other team members, and maybe he's going to hook up with Shaw. That's the only thing I could think of, because they could do another Hobbit Shaw movie. That's the only thing I could think of, because he can't be in the same room with Vin Diesel. And they must have offered him some money to do that. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Also, Destiny Aurora, click the link below and pledge to that thing. I need some help. And thank you all so much for your support. And thank you for watching. And again, let me know what you guys think. And have an awesome day. All right. Bye-bye.